In every person's life, there comes a moment of truth when they realize they are alone with their problems. This revelation can be painful, like a cold blade under the ribs, but it is the beginning of the path to true freedom. Acknowledging that no one will come to help means the death of illusions and the burial of excuses, the abandonment of childish hope for a miracle. In harsh reality, everyone is responsible for their own life. No one will appear to correct mistakes, ease the burden, or share the load. It may seem cruel, but that is the essence of true independence. A person must understand that they have everything they need to cope with any difficulties. The modern world is full of noise and bustle. People constantly want something, crave praise and recognition, hoping that someone will notice them and say, "I see you, I understand you, I approve of you." However, in reality, everyone has their own concerns and problems. Everyone is too busy healing their own wounds, fighting their fears, and solving problems that they sometimes cannot even articulate. Look around. The world is full of pain and suffering. People simply do not have the strength and resources to save someone else. Everyone must take care of themselves and find the strength to move forward. It is at this moment that a person gains true freedom and independence, realizing that they are the master of their own destiny. A sage who adheres to Stoic principles realizes that the pursuit of sympathy is a treacherous trap, and an insatiable thirst for understanding becomes shackles that bind the freedom of the spirit. Dependence on approving shouts and applause is like a poison that slowly destroys the inner core of the personality. When the realization comes that the world around you does not care about your experiences, what is left to do? The answer is simple. You need to turn inward. You need to become what you are so desperately looking for in the outside world. Discipline, respect for one's own personality must be cultivated, and peace must be found in silence in order to remain steadfast while the weak in spirit rush about in the chaos of their own passions. It is important to realize that desire is the oldest of prisons, making a person vulnerable and malleable. The desire to please others, the craving for easy ways, and comfort in a world that is not obliged to give comfort. All this weakens the will. He who kneels before comfort will never find the strength to stand alone, but he who welcomes discomfort, who can endure silence and reconcile with loneliness, becomes a person whom the world cannot break. A person belongs to what he tirelessly pursues. If his goal is the approval of others, he becomes a prisoner of other people's opinions. If he seeks only pleasure, he is enslaved by his next whim. If he is attracted by high status, he becomes a hostage of his own fragile mask. Striving for true freedom, it is necessary to abandon unnecessary needs, desires, and expectations. Only then can you feel how strong a person becomes when he stops exchanging his soul for meager crumbs of recognition. The current state of anxiety in society can be described as an ailment caused by an excess of reflection and a lack of practical steps. Modern men often find themselves trapped in their own thoughts, mired in endless analysis, comparisons, and doubts about their solvency, attractiveness, and success. However, as practice shows, the path to inner strength does not lie through reflection alone. It is achieved through active actions. It is necessary to curb the flow of words, open your eyes to the world, strengthen self-discipline, especially in those moments when no one is watching. Inevitably, there will be times when pain knocks on the door, and more than once. This is not a manifestation of cruelty, but a natural law of life. Pain is like a wet stone that hones the rough edges of the human personality. It is capable of forging something more durable and tempered from a person than he was before, if only he allows it to do so. Unfortunately, many prefer to avoid pain, drown it out in various ways, hide behind strained smiles, or drown it in fleeting pleasures. Unlike them, the Stoic accepts pain, looks it straight in the eye, and asks the question, "What lesson have you come to teach me this time?" Fear of failure is a kind of idol that is worshipped by showing indecision. Prayers are offered to him every time a person finds excuses to avoid doing what he knows needs to be done. The only antidote to this is action. Small but consistent steps taken in silence and solitude are the true path. It is necessary to act, even while feeling fear. If necessary, let the action be imperfect, but it must be taken. A person who acts against his fear becomes invulnerable to it. The inner self often deceives, whispering about imaginary exclusivity, but at the same time painting a picture of excessive vulnerability in the face of misunderstanding. It incites a constant desire to prove one's worth to others, forcing one to put on a performance for an audience whose names will soon be erased from memory. It is important to suppress this voice, not resorting to ostentatious modesty, but immersing yourself in tireless work on yourself, becoming so strong and purposeful as not to pay attention to the fleeting shadows of doubt. There are inevitable moments when a person feels invisible, when morning excitement betrays insecurity, and the world around him seems to mock his discipline, perseverance, and desire for solitude. During such periods, a legitimate question arises. Is it worth continuing? Is it worth keeping silent, and honing your intellect while others seek solace in cheap pleasures and self-deception? It must be remembered that every hour spent alone with your inner demons weakens their power. Solitude is not synonymous with loneliness, but rather a training ground for the spirit, a place where character is forged. Isolation does not occur due to a lack of love, but due to the construction of a solid foundation capable of withstanding only those who are ready for a deep and meaningful connection. On the life path of every person, there will inevitably be moments of temptation when an inner voice will whisper about the need to relax and indulge in fleeting pleasures. This insidious voice will convince you that you deserve a break, that you are too exhausted for further effort, too weak to fight, and too insignificant to change the situation. However, giving in to these temptations means dooming yourself to defeat. Instead of blindly following the voice of weakness, you need to learn disciplined rest. Rest should be conscious and purposeful, like a soldier who uses a break to regain strength and prepare for new battles, and not like a slave mired in laziness and inaction. After rest, it is necessary to get up again and continue to move forward until the mind believes in its own strength and capabilities. It is widely believed that discipline is a heavy burden, but this is nothing more than a lie. In fact, indiscipline has far more serious consequences. A person who pays the price of discipline every day experiences only a small, controlled pain, while he who refuses to pay this price is doomed to bleed throughout his life, wondering why nothing changes until everything around him begins to rot. When the alarm clock persistently calls for awakening, and the desire to hide under the covers becomes irresistible, it should be remembered that no one will come to help. This is freedom. No one will force you to get up. This is strength, the ability to make decisions independently and act against your weaknesses. Every person is all that he has, and this is enough to achieve his goals. The Stoic prepares for inner war, not for external ovations. He does not ask for mercy and does not seek love. He becomes self-sufficient so that love must earn his attention. Shed everything superfluous from life. Look at its essence without embellishment. Wake up from hibernation and get to work. Let suffering become not a meaningless burden, but an incentive for growth. Keep silent when ignoramuses spew streams of meaningless words. Speak only when your words can dispel the darkness of ignorance. Seek answers not outside, but in the depths of your own soul. Forget about expecting apologies and abandon the need for outside help. Everyone comes into this world alone and leaves it the same way. Only what you create between these 2 points has true value and belongs exclusively to you. Give others the right to complain about fate and beg for sympathy. You deserve more. Do not be afraid of falls, for every failure is just a step towards future victories. The Stoic keeps track only of his achievements and defeats without looking at others. Strive for peace, conquer it with your efforts. Thirst for freedom, subdue your own weaknesses and passions. Want to earn respect? Learn to do without outside help and approval. No one is interested in your excuses, only your actions. Your specific actions are important. Do not give cause for gossip and gossip. When you radiate calmness, confidence, and strength, you cause anxiety in the weak who feel your steadfastness. But by that time you will no longer care about their opinion. Maintain steadfastness in solitude. Act without unnecessary noise and pomp. Rule over yourself in the darkest times. When the storm breaks out, become the storm itself. This is the essence of the Stoic warrior. Remember that no one cares about your problems. Focus on yourself, on your inner growth. Become so stable that nothing can break you. Be so calm that nothing can throw you off balance. Become so disciplined that nothing can enslave you. Accept this truth and let it penetrate your consciousness. And when silence comes, rise renewed and full of strength.